enjoy that over there as well. Oh, that's fine. Hi, YouTube. Everyone on YouTube, say hi, Twitch. Everyone go over to the YouTube and say hi, Twitch. Okay. I might actually look to see if I can get this lecture pared down a little bit and editing and just like post it as a fucking lecture. Narcissism. You're always making everything about me. I know, Gadget. Hi. Hi, Tubes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and ring the little notification bell of blah, 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 blah. You know? So let's chit-chat for a spell before we get right into the meat of it, shall we? I need to turn that lo-fi down. It's coming a little powerful right now. How we doing, everybody? We having a good Sunday? The lo-fi be hi-fi, and so real. Someone's username over on YouTube is Skagmeat, and I want you to know that I think that that's incredible. Hi, Rapture. Hey, Otis, Mighty Robotnik, welcome in. Aaron the Lich King, good to see you, bud. All right, I appreciate everyone dual casting. Much obliged. Watch time helps us make it to YouTube Partner, which would be pretty sick. Anywho, let's get into it, shall we? How we feeling? How we feeling about this? You guys need to go piss? You guys need to get a little water or a caffeine or something before we get to it? Do we want to go and like take care of ourselves for a few minutes before we get started? Or how we feeling? I'm making piss. Fucking love that gif. It's so funny. Don't subscribe. I'm a bad fan. No, you're just not on all my platforms, which is okay. You can fix these things. It's all right. Very scary topic. I'm a gulp a bit with it, but I'm good. Got drink, got snack, and a drink. Wow. Proceeds to shotgun a pitcher of water, right? All right, well, important, not a bot message. Thank you, Dub. Lit. Now to lurk. Yes, of course. Please remember, if you're here for the lecture, go ahead and type 1 in chat. Is it empty right now? And type it in either chat. Wow. Wow. The only way to be a bad fan is to be an asshole about it. That is correct. Hi, Mythian, by the way. The only way to be a bad fan, in my opinion, is to never show up. In fact, I would say the worst way to be a fan is to show up for a little while and then shit talk everything the entire time. Hi, Korakhan. Like, you show up to one stream and you're like, yeah, that guy sucks, actually. They're a piece of shit, and I think that they're boo-boo. And it's like, okay, cool, you are, in fact, a bad fan. That's being a bad fan. Otherwise, you do what you can. I know that my community, for the most part, is overwhelmingly... You hear that, Star Wars people? Real. Wouldn't that be a hater? Maybe, I don't know. Go. Yeah, okay. But unlike yesterday, I'm not actually stalling this time. I'm just making sure I have everything, like, orchestrated correctly so that when we do this, it actually looks right. Which it didn't anyway, because I fucking taken up too much of the damn screen. Alright, so as you guys know, I'm wearing the apron because we're gonna do work today. We're gonna be talking about some heavy stuff. If things get too real, take a break, come back. I'll still be here. The lecture slides will be posted on the Discord, so make sure that you're on the Discord, so that you can refer to them later for your own personal use and reacclimation to the information. Let's fucking do it. I'm not gonna lie, I am a little nervous about this one. I feel like I might piss some people off, but that's okay. Alright, so, everybody... Oh, actually, hold on, I forgot to do something. Stand by. I forgot to do one very important thing. I forgot to turn off a bunch of redeems. If I don't turn off a bunch of redeems, people are gonna start interrupting the fucking stream.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Oh, you clicked that right when I turned it off, you son of a bitch.
Dude, sucking at something is the first step towards being sorta good at something.
Cold Snow Killer, thank you very much for the 3 stream streak. I much
What's that supposed to
appreciate
mean?
it.
Read a fucking book.
Alright. Alright. Everybody, hello. Welcome to another lecture. Thank you, Oxen. Welcome to another lecture. This one is Psychology 102, Lecture 15. Today we're going to be talking about narcissism. I hope you're ready for that word. I'm going to be saying it a lot. Guess what? Today I learned how I muscle memoried into knowing how to spell narcissism on a keyboard. So that's cool. Dragon with Beard, thanks for the lurk, man. Please make sure you pop by into chat every now and then just so Twitch doesn't forget that you're here. Literally just type fucking, I don't know, pretend like you're Tootsie and generate a password every now and then. Hi, young lord. Welcome in. How's everyone doing? Good. We're about to do the thing. For some reason I hear narcissism. I think Slanesh demons. Well. Alright. Dr. O'Shadow, welcome in. Thank you very much for swinging on by. With your line of work, I assume you type it a lot. Wow, get his ass! Kiwi, hello, hun. Won't be able to watch that well because I'm at work. Well, this is mainly going to be a listening. There's a lot on the slides, but you can mainly get through this by just listening. I throw it back for you, throw me under the bus? Yes, so you're face down, ass up. That's the way we like to fuck. Glory to Ostroska. That's an incredible username. Welcome on in. +2 bars, yeah. Your ass is a fulcrum? Yes. Got the glove on for this? Yes. It's time for work. But we wear gloves when we work. I saw a Fenari emote in chat, and I have the dream in my mind that someday my West Coast people who sleep in and never catch any of my streams but are friends of mine will someday wake up and catch one of these streams, and it makes me so hopeful. It's never gonna happen, but I have hope, you know? It's good to have dreams. Alright, so just as a reiteration, we have some rules for these lectures. Welcome in, Tiny. We have some rules for these lectures. If you want to ask a question that is relevant to the current topic at hand, please use the raised hand channel point redeem and pose your question. Moderators, if you're here, please do me the favor of pinning questions I haven't gotten to yet. If you have questions that are not on topic, I recommend that you please save those questions and type them and maybe save them somewhere and for the Q&A section at the end of the lecture. I pray. I wish my friends have bad sleep to watch me horror before talking about narcissism. Yeah, listen, it's not lost on me, dog. I will be interacting with chat, but you guys know me. I love to talk and read chat constantly, especially on Sundays. But at lectures, I don't really have the ability to do so as much because I'm kind of in like the vibe of things. So as is the norm in our chat during these lectures, I expect a lot of cross chatter, a lot of discussions between people. Hi Gravy, by the by, Bretharion as well. So I expect you guys to have a lot of, discussions amongst yourselves. This is not an actual classroom. You guys can talk and it won't interrupt my ability to lecture. So there you go. Aaron, we're going to talk about that. Don't you sweat it. So let's talk about this for a second. Who am I? My name is Horatius the Dwarf, or Horatius Silverstone. Vital, welcome in. I'm an EN VTuber, and by trade, I'm a mental health professional. I have over 7 years of field experience. I'm currently employed as a special education teacher. I have experience with ABA, which is applied behavioral analysis, which I'm not a particular big fan of. Addiction counseling, behavior management. I've been a case manager. I've done one-on-one behavioral aid in an educational setting. I've done intensive in-home work, crisis management, conflict resolution, and cognitive behavioral therapy, also known as CBT. To be clear, I am not licensed to practice in your country or territory. It is very, very open. I'm very open with the fact that I live in Maryland, which is the central east coast of America. I don't care if you do live in Maryland. I'm not licensed to be your practitioner. I am a mental health professional. I am not your mental health professional. So let's talk about what our goals here are, okay? The purpose of these streams are three-pronged. There is to raise awareness of mental health in the streaming community because I think it is woefully misunderstood, or like just genuinely understood, like not known enough. It's to educate people on the basics of psychology. I am not a psychology professor. I will probably not ever get into like collegiate 400 coursework stuff with you guys. That's not my place. That's not my profession. My pedagogical skills are pretty solid, but that's not my job. It is also to entertain and to share my personal experiences from the field. I think that I have a relatively unique perspective in that I am not only a mental health professional, but I also have a lot of life experience and I am a content creator myself. So I have a bit of an insider's angle on both of the aspects that are relevant in this lecture. So I feel like I have a little bit of chops as to know what I'm talking about. But here's my big disclaimer. Take what you hear and read and improvise it. Much of what I'll be sharing is fact. That's true. But it will be slathered in my own opinions and biases. I'm giving you all a lecture. A lot of what I'm saying is genuine, real, but also a lot of it is my spin on fact, my opinion on analysis. I say this to cover my biases and to make sure that I'm not doing unjust harm to people. Do your own research? I mean, maybe, but also more importantly, like you should be every piece of knowledge that you receive in your life, you should receive it and filter it through your own environmental circumstances. Because there's things that I'm going to be talking about today that are going to be relevant to some, that will not be relevant to other people, and that doesn't make the information valuable or unvaluable. It makes it situationally specific. Some Guy Gaming 420, welcome on in by the by. Alright. So as we go on to the pre-lecture quiz, from this point on, I am leaving you all. I'm going to be lecturing. If you need my attention, please use the raise hand redeem and ask a question in chat. Otherwise, I'm going to be primarily focused on lecturing, and I'll see you guys in a while. All right, so here's our pre-lecture quiz. This quiz will come back up at the end of the lecture. And I will ask you these questions then. So I'm asking them now, and you can go ahead and do your little like guesses. Maybe you do know, but go ahead and throw out your ideas to the following questions. 1, what is narcissism? 2, what is something that narcissism isn't? 3, what is one of the expressions of narcissism? Question number 4, why do I keep hearing that everyone is a narcissist? Question 5, why do some fields of work attract narcissists? And there will be a test on what's on the slides themselves, so make sure that you're paying attention if you can and take notes. So let's talk about narcissism, shall we? That was just a misspelling, Pitharion. Don't get latched onto it. So what is narcissism? So to talk of narcissism, we first ought to go back in time and talk about a guy who looked at some water. What the fuck are you talking about? So, the word narcissism is deprived from the myth of Narcissus. Sorry, this is embarrassing. Okay. So the word narcissism is derived from the myth of Narcissus, a story about a guy who was cursed to fall in love with his own reflection. So students, we relate the idea of self-obsession with narcissism or being narcissistic, right? So it's time to do some introspection right off the break. What is your opinion on the line between self-care and self-obsession? This is me asking you all in chat right now, and I'm looking at both chats. Where is the line, in your opinion, between where it stops being self-care and self-love and self-obsession? Saying to people, I don't know the line. There is no line. It's hard to say at the detriment of others around you. I like that answer. If your care has no room for others person. When it's detrimental. Self-care is taking care of yourself. Self-obsession is affecting other people greatly by taking care of yourself.
Rock and stone!
Thank you very much for the follow, Fatal Hermit. Welcome on into the mountain home. Biken, I saw you come in, by the by. So yeah. Let's talk about some of the expressions of narcissism, shall we? I'm seeing a lot of really good answers in chat, by the way. I'm very proud of you guys. Very, very good understandings. So let's talk about the expressions of narcissism. I got a little comic on the side there. It's 2 pieces of Swiss cheese saying, I'm getting a little tired of your holier-than-thou attitude. So there are a lot of different expressions of narcissism. There are 2 main representations of narcissism. There is grandiose and vulnerable. Okay, these are the stems and the primary sources of which all the following types are born from. The secondary and the tertiary are parental, workplace, celebrity will get to you, social media rather, and sexual. These are the contextual ways in which the primary expressions manifest. Let's break that down. So, the first primary form of narcissism that we're going to talk about is called grandiose narcissism. This is one of the main 2 expressions, and what this is when people, this is like, I think, the most stereotypical expression of narcissism. This is when people are amping themselves up, better than thou, you are filth and shit, and I am incredible, you're welcome for me being here. So it's a sense that you're better than others. It's a sense that you're particularly unique. It's about how, like, it's okay to be ambitious, right? But, like, it's when ambition to attain power and success above others. Relationships with these types of narcissists are frequently short-lived, and they are in the interest to acquire power and success and strength. These people tend to have a flair for exhibitionism and self-promotion, and they tend to be exploitative of others and self-serving. Where the other side of that coin is we have the vulnerable expression of narcissism. These people are worse than everyone else. They have a tendency to be incredibly reactive, and they'll be very avoidant of conflict, especially if they'll avoid people that are even remotely harmful to them. The image I have on the left about the eternal victim is very apt. If you have anybody in your life or you've seen people that are always the victim, they are never at fault, they never claim any understanding. This is a form of narcissism. At the end of the day, it is still narcissism because it's all about them. It's all of the things that are happening, it's about how it's happening to them and how horrible their life is because it's happening to them. Not a martyr complex. Martyrdom is going to be closer to grandiose narcissism. The idea that you give everything for the betterment of others and that you are it's a weird blend, right? What if they do both? You can do both. You can do all of these at once, or, only one of them. That's the thing about expressions of narcissism. These are all the different flavors, and you could be one of those weird motherfuckers who grabs your soda cup and goes to the fountain and puts a little bit of everything in there, right? So these are people who withdraw, they isolate out of shame or distrust for other people. They're focused on long-lasting relationships, and they will drain those people dry of resources, of attention. They're always always have low sense of self-worth and have a foggy sense of self. It's always no, I can't do it. Well, no, you fucking can, but you don't want to because making other people do it for you makes you feel tended to. So I actually think that this one is a lot more insidious, and in a lot of ways through that more dangerous. Would these be the type of people who like to trauma dump? So that's a tricky question to answer. I'll answer it, but just follow me on that, okay? People who like to trauma dump can be a lot of things. One of the ways that they can be when it comes to this in particular, so I would say someone who is a vulnerable narcissist and it comes to trauma dumping, these are people who tell you about a problem, right? They ask you for help or guidance, you give it to them, and then nothing fucking changes. They don't actually do anything different because the reason why they complained to you, the reason why they dumped their trauma on your lap had very little to do with actually processing or proceeding through their pain, and it was more about using you as an opportunity to lash you with their stress for your pity and for your attention. To be completely honest, there's a lot of both of these in the VTubing community and a lot of both of these in the online creativity place. I've known a lot of people like that. Yeah, we all have. Wow, that's really accurate. Uh-huh. I'm going to say this now, by the way. As we talk about narcissism, we are going to eventually get to the point where we're talking about celebrity and talk about social media and creators. If anybody, and I mean this very honestly, if anybody mentions a particular creator at any given time about this, I will fucking ban you for a minute. I'm already fearful that I'm going to get backlash for talking about this so openly and directly that I am genuinely concerned that people might come after me for it. So I don't need to give them any fuel, all right? Also, welcome in, Rainey. And everybody else who's come in. Might want to pin that. If only I had a moderator. So that's the two main ones, right? Haters gonna hate, I know, but listen, I'm not trying to get fucking shit canned, okay? I'm not trying to get dogpiled by a bunch of people on the internet with too much free time. That can genuinely hurt me. My point here is to teach and to help. MR, thank you, Jesus Reborn. Welcome in. Trying to learn, not drama. Exactly. We're gonna actually talk about drama farming in a little bit. Is ego searching grandiose? Yes, potentially. I love it.
Sucking at something is the first step towards being sort of good at something.
I fucking love the internet. Okay. So remember, these are our two primary, and these are going to keep coming up, all right? So these are our two primary expressions of narcissism. Grandiose and vulnerable, okay? All the other expressions of narcissism stem from these two core premises, okay? All right. Here's another one. This is where we're going to start to get into the secondary and tertiary expressions. We have parental and workplace. I've mixed these two expressions into one slide because they share some DNA. They are fundamentally location driven, and they both have a hierarchy of command, and it instills a backbone of authority. All right. When narcissism expresses itself at home, in the family unit, or at the workplace, it presents generally as an abuse of power or a manipulation of power. The parent who shames their child into action and is never capable with them or comparable to them is what I meant to say there. Supervisor at work that is better than everyone else at the store just because they've worked there for 10 years and have their position out of seniority alone, and brandishes their position with abandon to make those who kneel to them their lives better and the squeaky wheels' lives miserable. As a reminder to consider, both primary expressions of narcissism can appear in these places: appeals to earned or inherited authority. My little comic over there on the bottom left corner says, how about we schedule that meeting for never? Does that work for you? Yeah, absolutely in the military. Zero-sum thinking, yep. So this is, like, when we talk about this, we're talking about, like, that there is an established order. There's an established hierarchy in a family unit. There's an established hierarchy in a workplace, you know? And in both of those scenarios, expressions of narcissism can come through where you have either the coworker that is eternally incapable and constantly is goading you into either doing their work for them or to helping them with their work, and just draining you of all of your ability, right? This is the vulnerable expression, right? Then you have the grandiose. You have this, you know... I back when I did retail work, I worked at a Staples, right? And at the Staples, which is a office supply store for those who don't know, I had this short little lady who was the boss there, and she graduated out of high school, started working there, and never left. And she was in her early 30s, right? And she did fucking nothing ever. And to the one bootlicker at our store, he would hang out in her office with her all day, and they would just flirt, probably fuck, and just chill and do fucking nothing. While me and like one other, you know, shitter would basically be running the store while they just sat back and collected their paychecks. You know, these are people who, if I ever called on them to help me out with something, or maybe if I needed like a manager password or clearance, or if someone requested to talk to a manager, they would come out and be like, ugh, what do you need? And I was like, I don't know, motherfucker. I need you to do your fucking job for like 5 minutes. I'm so sorry. Like, so these are people who, you know, have this grandiose. They're the better than thou. You know, my job says that I'm better than you. Why are you telling me telling my life story? Sorry, dog. Sorry, I read that differently at first. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, so, but also remember that these positions can be flipped, right? Like if we go to the homestead, we can have, here, I'm gonna basically stab right in a couple people's hearts with this one, and I apologize. Just like sound off if this is a family member that you know. You have the family member who, just really wishes you would do better. And it's okay, I'll do it. No, it's fine. I'll do it. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's not your problem. I'll do it. It's all right. Please don't worry about it. No, it's okay. I'm a bad insert person here. I'm a bad mother. I'm a bad sister. I'm a bad brother. Whatever. You know? And then you have the other side of that coin. You have the egotist. You have the grandiose. It's like, you're going to fucking listen to me no matter what, because I made you and I can take you. I put you in this world. I'll take you out of this world. It's really that easy. So you're going to do what I fucking tell you. I'm better. Think of like the dad from Matilda. Like, I'm right, you're wrong. I'm tall, you're short. I'm right, you're wrong. Like I'm big, you're strong. I'm right, you're wrong. So forget about like whatever it is. Yeah, because I said so. So yeah, like these people are common. These things are common. They're not in everyone's life, right? I'm tall, you're short is a hard flex for DeVito, yeah. Every Caribbean parent ever? Well...
Rock and stone!
Gravy _ Gator gifted a tier 1 sub to Rainy Shrimpy. They have given 78 gift subs in the channel.
Might makes right, money makes authority, absolutely. So just like that, you see that, right? This is a big part of this. Like narcissism where the authority is already established, right? That's how these things link in. Wait, is it sexual next? Yep. So let's talk about sexual narcissism. This expression stands alone because it manifests in any context as long as it is sexual in nature. There is being a pillow princess. There's the me first in bed kind of approach. You know, there's pleasers. There's people who want to be pleased. You know, however, talking about sexual narcissism, we are mainly aiming at the following traits. We're talking about egocentric approaches to the act itself. An excessive lack of care for others involved in the interest of one's own gratification. These people frequently boast of their sexual ability or of entitlement. No bad talking pillow princesses. Well, that's what I'm saying, that like there's one thing is to being a pillow princess or to being like a, you know, I want to come first in bed, right? That's one thing. I know we had a shed. We've had that shit for years, gamer. So let's say you're building a shed, right? Sexual narcissism when you're building a shed would be like, hey, I'm gonna start working on the shed, right? But you're gonna go to the store and get all the supplies. When you get back, I'll have cleared the ground, right? I'll have cleared the ground of debris so you can start laying down the foundation, and then I'm gonna take a break while you get the foundation done, and then I'm gonna show up and tell you where I want the walls and how I want the roof to look, and then I'll mess with the door a little bit, and then you'll take care of the rest of that, and then we'll do the interior together a little bit, and then afterwards it's my shed, so I'm gonna sit in my shed, and it's my shed. So thanks. This is mine, okay? So thank you for helping me with my shed, but it's time for you to go. Oh, you want to come and hang out in the shed that we built together? That's for me. It's for me. This is my shed. You gotta go. That would be my shed analogy for that one. So, if you've ever been in bed with someone who is very me first, you never, that would be the thing. Oh, we learning today? Welcome in. Very shed, much good. Make sure we pop off in YouTube chat for a minute. Thank you kindly. You know someone like that? I feel like a lot of us do. Can narcissism be learned or is it born? If learned, can it be untaught? That's a great question, LeQuesson. We are going to get to that near the end of the lecture. But the short answer is narcissism can be learned. It also can be instilled upon you. And it can be untaught. It can be unlearned. Behavior can always change. So let's talk about sex stuff for a second. We're going to talk about this briefly, but you may have noticed that the topic of narcissism often gets sexual at some point, and there's a reason for that. It's important to understand the history of a term to be able to identify how it became what it is today. Nick and Ellis, I believe, because the C has umlaut over it, in the late 1880s, chose to start using the term narcissism to describe someone who looked upon and treated their own body with the way that a sexual partner would ordinarily be treated. Interesting term, right? Power dynamics? Yes. Also, gender norms and everything else. What's up, Felly? In 1913, Speed Star, thanks for the follow. Ernest Jones coined the term God complex and considered narcissism to be a character trait. Which is fucking wild to consider it a character trait. It's so much more than that, and it's so much worse than that. This is also, like, that idea by Ernest Jones in the God complex book. This is where we hear the idea that, like, he's a narcissist, but he's a good guy. They're just a narcissist. It's whatever. The idea to downplay or to minimize or to normalize being a narcissist stems from this work and from this idea. Now, again, that is a misunderstanding of Ernest Jones's point. That's not what Ernest Jones was trying to purport in their work, but that's how it was carried on and how it was remembered. So here we are. Our old boy Freud, back in 1914, stated that narcissists aimed their libido towards themselves rather than to objects or other people. So, again, like everything Freud did, it was either cocaine or sex-oriented. And so he said that you're a narcissist if you aim your sexual energy at yourself. He would describe people, if you just masturbated more than 3 times a week, he'd probably call you a narcissist. Are there median levels of narcissism? Yes. I don't think I have a proper slide to discuss it, but we will at some point talk about what a healthy level of narcissism is, because that does exist. Oh, shit. And as time went on, we would leave the sexual aspect of narcissism behind, but the origins of narcissism being associated with sex and sexual energy and what you do with your sexuality still clings to the concept today. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about celebrity and social media narcissism. These expressions are being paired as they share some genetics as well. Celebrity narcissism stems from a few major factors: an authority and a parasociality manifested by one's own fame and notoriety. This presents a conundrum. As people, we learn our norms, social, cultural, and otherwise, by observing the world and the people in it around us. The reason why... Just real quick. Who here grew up knowing that it was okay to burp at the dinner table? I'll ask. What homes said it was okay to burp at the dinner table? I'm curious. Just pop off. So, So I'm pointing out here, I want you guys to look at chat and see all of the different answers. There's a lot of just no's, but there's a lot more than just that, right? Thank you also for the hype train, everybody. I appreciate it. So I want you guys to notice that there's differences, because depending upon where you were raised and your environment, right? Some places it was okay. Some places it wasn't okay. And that's all right. Because we look to the people around us, to our environment, to learn our social cues, to learn what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So when we achieve celebrity, we look to our peers, to people like us, and there are so few, because by the very nature of the term, celebrity is people who have an incredibly high level of social standing, and just by the nature of like how that works, there's fewer people at that point for you to be able to connect to. So there's less opportunities to learn how you should conduct yourself as a celebrity. It's lonely at the top? I have no idea. When I get there, I'll tell you. So, we have this elevated fame and become one of those few. We have no cues to learn from. We bring our own baggage and our own bullshit, and we try our best. This, students, will be important. It's a surprise tool that we could use that will help us later. I literally wrote that line and immediately thought of it's a surprise tool that'll help us later. I had to put it in the slide. So, like, let me just ask you. Can everybody name a micro celebrity or a niche internet celebrity or someone on social media who goes viral? Name any one of the viral moments that you know of in time. Because let me tell you, Collargate, yeah, as a recent example, Numa Numa. There's too many. Exactly. If I speak, I'm in trouble. Neil Gaiman? Absolutely. Cash Me Outside? How about that? Yeah. The Fridge Is Not Real. West End Caleb? Yep. It's just good business. Sure. Like, in all these scenarios, you can look at a lot of these people, right? Hawk to a Boogie. A lot of these people blew up and then had no frame of reference on how the fuck to conduct themselves and expose their incredible, most horrid aspects of their character because they had no idea what to do with themselves. If you take a mouse and you put it in a cheese wheel and observe it, that mouse is going to be fucking... Where do I start? There's so much cheese! What do I do? Like, it becomes overwhelming, right? It becomes overwhelming with opportunity, and you make mistakes. You make bad choices because there's no safety net. There's nothing around you to learn from. You go in, you're like, well, what the fuck do I do now that I'm here? And there's like 4 other people, and none of them want to talk to you. You know? Yeah, exactly, Aaron. Yeah, like my point is when you get to that point where you go viral, you get that notoriety, you get the updates, then you're like, oh shit, this has never happened. It's a new experience for people. They don't know how to conduct themselves. What's up, Unc? How you doing, Salty? You're saying this because it's an honest slip I've found a lot of people do not understand? Correct. What if those same people were to elevate the people around them, if not publicly, then privately? Well, they do. But they often fail. And we'll talk about why those people tend to fail later. What are you, old man? A dwarf talking about psychology? Welcome in. Alright. Pop quiz! Think fast, chuckle nuts! Why did I mention eternal victims? Why were they important? Why did we talk about eternal victims? What do I do? So a short old guy? Correct. You clocked me correct when you first walked in, salted potato chips by calling me Unk. You good. Form of narcissism. Hey, Eden fucking cooking. That's a great answer. Same tube as well. Well done. I just woke up, please. Motherfucker, I told you there would be a quiz. So the pop culture understanding of narcissism is just one side of the coin. It's important to know both. Correct. That's very apt. Vulnerable narcs. Yep. Will you be my father? Sure. Hang out a lot longer. I'll be your dad. Sir, I'm new to this class. I don't know. I don't care. Sit down and listen. Alright. Who the heck is Narcissus and why do they matter? Narc meant something else. It does, but in this instance, in this context, Protherion, narc is clearly a shorthand for narcissist. Water-looking guy. Looked in the water. Shed was during sex discussion. We haven't gotten to that question, Pop. Slow down. Greek myth who liked himself too much. Greek mythological figure. Correct. Why is his name important? He was recursed to love his reflection. Was the namesake of the disorder. Perfect, Otis. Well done. Yeah, good answers, everybody. So, when did the shed appear? Why was there a shed? I forgot to add this question. Love Shack? Yeah, sex. Talking about sex. How many primary expressions of narcissism are there?
Rock and stone!
Thanks for the follow, Salty Potato Chips. Welcome on in. It was a metaphor for how sexual narcissism displays itself. Correct. Otis with the great question, great answer. A lot of twos, grandiose and vulnerable. Correct. There's two. Good job. Now, on the previous slides, there was a bunch of colorful shapes. What was the most common of those shapes? Squares, pentagons. There was a couple pentagons. There was a diamond. Blue is not a shape. The lowercase e. Round. Okay. Aura eye and tumbleweed are correct. I saw a diamond once. Alright. We're going to go back to it. You guys ready? So what was the most common one? And what color was it? It was behind the shed. And there was a tie for the least common one. What was the least common one? Very groggously, do not ask me such questions. The answer, the least common, arid was the closest. There was a orange triangle and a purple diamond. A orange triangle there.
Rock and stone.
Neat player. Welcome in. What's the blue bar, Lebowski? It's okay. That's why we do the lectures. All right. So let's do this, baby. All right. So, content creators and narcissism. I almost took my wedding ring off for this. All right. So, let's address it. Why do so many people in the creator sphere seem to exhibit narcissistic behaviors? Thank you, Sword Cohere. Again, I will ban you for 1 full minute if we name people directly. So I don't have actually all damn day. So let's boil this down into a few narrative ideas. I have 4 ideas. Attention seeking? You're on the right track. Or I told you in confidence, highest. God damn it, Amantos. So there's 4 major ideas here, right? We have the system encourages it, the users encourage it, the self encourages it, or the null hypothesis. So first, and this is what we'll probably spend the majority of the time talking about, is that the systems encourage it. So let's talk about each of these 4 concepts I have about why these patterns of narcissistic behavior are so prominent. The idea that the platforms and the systems in place encourage it is claiming that online ecosystem promotes this pattern of behavior. We see this on platforms that promote channels and creators for whatever practice generates clicks, regardless of method sometimes. Remember, when we talk about reinforcement or punishment of behavior, we're trying to increase its usage or decrease its usage respectively. So if the environment rewards with social status or resources those that engage in certain behaviors, in this case narcissistic ones, then those people will be rewarded to continue doing so. So, we're going to talk about this. And I'm going to do my best to not talk about anybody in particular. Oh no, narcissism is meta? Great observation. So. Okay. The systems in place, the platforms. We can talk about social media platforms, places with timelines, places where streams are platformed. These locations, the argument here is that they promote the idea of people being narcissistic and being self-serving. We can see this in recent history examples of people who have had long Google Docies about them in recent months and years, where you see that their behavior is like categorically narcissistic, but they were rewarded for this behavior. You can apply this to rich people more comfortably? Agreed, but we're not to Google, shush. So these platforms want people to come to them. That's how they generate ad revenue. That's how they generate speculative value, and that's why the shareholders pay them. So, okay, thank you, AVG Anti-Track, for popping up. So it's these people are encouraged to fuck you I got to get mine. So these people will construct, as we said, back with Grandiose. These people are encouraged to generate relationships that are short-term in the interest of acquiring power, social status, and strength. These are often short and transactional. Clout chasers, yeah. These are people who are here to show up, steal a little bit of whatever they can, and then fuck off. And they will never talk with you again. I'll talk about myself. I have interacted with many streamers that are smaller than me that have walked up, tried to hang out with me a little bit, and then they dip and they never keep a connection. And that's okay, right? Sometimes it's just innocuous, right? Sometimes it's just it didn't work out, right? Oh, ads are over now? Wait, when did I lose you guys? Did we miss all of this? All right. Let me just run this back real quick. So we're talking about content creators and narcissism. There are 4 major ideas. 1, that the system encourages it. 2, that the users encourage it. And 3, the self encourages it. And 4, the null hypothesis. So the system encourages it by promoting people to do narcissistic things. Like we said with the Grandiose, right? Grandiose narcissists are promoted on platforms and timelines by them constantly shoving themselves into as many people's faces as possible. Look at me, look at me, look at me. You got to see me. You got to look how incredible I am, right? These people tend to generate these short-term relationships that are transactional. They're like getting and gleaning as much as they can from the people around them, and then once they're no longer of value, they ring them up, throw them in the pack and to dry, and never come back to them. They will welcome. I'm gonna say some kind of very pointed but not specific shit. It would be like, encouraged to act poorly, which leads to bad places. Yes. So, like, what if I just started having particular people of, like, let's say if I just had, like, really coughed up how much of an ally I am to trans people, right? And, like, I had trans creator after trans creator after trans creator on my stream. Yeah? Then, I throw all of those people to the side because, well, I've gotten the allyhood. I've gotten my little ally card in the mail, and people know that I am a good person and want to support me because I am an ally, right? I'm not really an ally. I just wanted to steal the social strata or social status of being an ally, and that's disgusting behavior, right? Sorry, I had to take a swig of water. On the other side, do you think grandiose narcissism helps making self-promo easier? Absolutely. Stepping stone mentality. Absolutely. Shedding all over it. Yep. I'm a non-threatening feminist. Yeah, exactly. So then we also see the eternal victim in the content creator sphere a lot. Motherfuckers who are always posting about how their life is the most horrible thing on the world. They can hear some great news about somebody, like you tell them, like, oh, I just proposed, or I just got into my master's program, or I just got a new job, or I just bought a new car, or I just made up with a long-standing friend of mine that we were estranged, and the person that you're talking to's response is, yeah, that's great, but, like, I've got this medical problem. It's really horrible, actually. And then, like, they immediately make it about them and how their lives are horrible. Like, we see that all the time. My boundaries are being treaded on. Yeah. My life is terrible and bad, and here's my wish list. Yeah, exactly. You know, these people who are victims, right? They eternally talk about their victimhood online, never actually constructing anything of value other than a sense of global pity for their problems. And this is really, really common in the creator sphere. These are people who are constantly pushing forward the idea that you have to save them, you have to help them. They are still, like the grandiose narcissist, they are pushing themselves forward into everyone's line of sight. But unlike the grandiose narcissist that is doing it for their own self-aggrandizement, to put other people down and to push themselves up and to abuse people, these narcissistic creators are the ones that are siphoning and draining their people to death. When someone considers a relationship not working out, in this case when you try to form a bond over streaming and the chemistry doesn't match an issue, is it a narcissistic trait or is it contextual? Let's say it was an innocuous split for the sake of argument. Yeah, I mean, that happens contextually. It could be narcissistic, right? People, I mean, we hear the, hey, tell me if you've heard this one before. Hey, can you guys tell me if you've heard this one before? Hey guys, update video. You may notice that my, longtime colleague on the channel is not here today. We're having to, they're not going to be a part of the show anymore. We're having creative differences. Hold on, let me do this real quick. Many such cases. Well, then that's not creative differences, though, is my point, right, Izzy? Right? That's moral differences, not creative differences. So that's how, we can talk about how the system encourages it, right? And I think, in my personal opinion, I don't want to and this is my opinion. Okay, we're getting into Horatius opinion territory, right? It is my opinion that the majority of people who end up being harmfully narcissistic in this space are these people. People that have been manipulated by their environment, by the systems in place that they are trying to thrive on, and letting the rules of this space push them into being the worst version of themselves. I'm not trying to rob these people of their autonomy. I'm not trying to say, ooh, they're so pitiful, that's so sad, that they don't have a moral backbone strong enough to be an upstanding member of society. No, there are people that do this for a living and they don't have other options. Maybe they've tried a lot, maybe they've tried so much. But also the bar of entry to be a streamer is excessively low. And so some people try their best to get into this space, right? And they see how the game is played, and they play the game at the detriment of themselves and the people around them. Let's see. Dog Breath, welcome in. Let's see. Not sure if this is entirely related, but if someone sees someone promoting a positive thing, are they a type of narcissist for not commenting congratulations to them? Like if they chose to not interact with the objectively positive post someone put out. No, that doesn't mean you're narcissistic for not doing that. It can be. You can not engage with something positive because you're a narcissist, but not engaging with something positive does not make you a narcissist. In my personal opinion, a lot of the people who are this way in particular, or narcissistic for this way, are the people who seemingly show up out of nowhere and make Twitch partner in 4 months or less than 6 months. You know? At least these days. You know? These are people who have taken very, very, very dedicated understanding to how the system works, show up, make their flash in the pan, and they game it, yeah. So, the users encourage it. Now we're talking about you stupid motherfuckers. let's talk about each of these three concepts, blah, blah, blah. The idea here is that the community or the users of these spaces encourage and promote this pattern of behavior. We see this in drama channels, rage baiters, lol cows, and stuff like that. People who are being openly encouraged to do these things by their user base. They're being rewarded with social status and or resources and will likely continue to exhibit these behaviors. I mean, we're part of the problem? Listen, I'm gonna fucking say this shit right now to all of you that are here. If you openly like every rage bait post you see, if you go to drama tubers channels and feast upon the corpse of their drama, you are part of the problem. Because how could you blame them? Genuinely, I'm asking you, how could you blame a motherfucker if they stream 3 times a week, right? Imagine they stream 3 times a week. Let's say they stream to about 50 people on average when they're playing video games or just chatting. But then a drama pops off and they make a stream where they talk about drama, and now they're suddenly streaming to 120 people, maybe even 200 people. What do you think that motherfucker's gonna do? What do you think they're gonna do? They're going to keep making drama streams. They're going to keep talking about the VTuber news. They're going to make YouTube videos. They're going to make streams. They're going to post about it. They're going to post about it. And 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 then they're going to wait a week. And then they're going to post about it. And then they're going to post about it. And then they're going to stream about it. Why would they not do that? They're being rewarded for the behavior. The user base is teaching them objectively that if you continue to chase drama and talk about drama, people show up. And that's how you get ad revenue. People can't subscribe to your channel if they don't know it exists. But this isn't the system. This is the user base. You motherfuckers. This motherfucker. Those motherfuckers. I chose this picture because it's 2 people punching themselves to death for the cheer of a crowd. These 2 dudes would not beat the shit out of each other if they were not being financially compensated for doing so. There's people outside of frame in this image that are, yes, yes, wanting them to beat the shit out of each other. No gloves? This is bare knuckle boxing. Are you pro-scub or anti-scub? I don't know what that stands for, so I'm going to say I don't know. So my big point in this is to make sure that you all, as users, catch yourself. Are you pro-elves or anti-elves? Some elves are cool, some elves suck. Easy. Insert controversial thing, sure. Blast from the past. I'm not familiar with the Parabibble Fellowship. I'm sorry. So yeah. Be responsible for yourselves. If you guys are done seeing creators beat the shit out of each other and use each other as ladder rungs to make their living, stop rewarding the people that do it. I'm telling you. In fact, this is the biggest thing. There's 100 people watching this stream right now. I don't often look at my chat size. I don't think it's healthy to do that all of the time. I do it a couple of times every stream just to see how things are going. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's over 100 people watching this stream. If every single one of you took some time and curated your spaces, actually, you know what? This next week, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go and watch the normal streams you already watch, and I want you to listen for it. I want you to watch and pay attention. And when you see someone that you're watching is like generating attention because they're dealing with stuff that that doesn't even fucking concern them, leave. I'm telling you, leave. Stop watching that person. Go do something else. I don't know, pick your ass for all I care. I don't care. But do not reward these people because they're just going to keep doing it. There's also the self that encourages it, right? So let's talk about each of these three This is the most basic of ideas, simply that the drive to be narcissistic is internal. It was mentioned earlier that sometimes people that I don't watch a lot of streams, good. The cause of this can vary, but can stem from being abused by narcissists yourself, or the environment shaping you into one, nature versus nurture type stuff. We got these two chuckle fucks saying that, like, they compare themselves to Jesus Christ, or they're the most successful comedian of all time. Both of these people kind of suck. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm okay talking about, like, Hollywood celebrities, because these motherfuckers don't care about me or my existence. They don't give a fuck. But these people suck. For different reasons, but they both suck. Chris Pratt is Jesus? Real. But still use Pratt's names in vain. So, like, this is like where people in the content sphere, this is like, oh, people brought their narcissism into content. And that's how it starts, right? Like, people came in, brought their narcissism. It was implied into them by their own life before. And now here they are, making a career by abusing the people around them. And thankfully, this whole environment encourages it. Content creation encourages narcissism. That does not mean you have to be a narcissist to be successful. Look at me. I think I'm pretty successful on the internet. I don't think that I'm a narcissist. In fact, I on my beard, I vow, if anyone in this chat thinks that I am a narcissist, I promise you, if you speak up about that at this exact time, I will absolutely hear you out, and there will be no comeuppance to you for it. I would respect your bravery, if nothing else. Because it's not... Saying that you are or are not a narcissist is not really something that you can attribute to yourself. You're too biased to see that truth. It's like honor. You can't give yourself honor, right? People have to give you honor. You have to be considered honorable. You can't say, oh, I'm an honorable person. That's something that people give you. I can't say that I'm not narcissistic. People have to say that on my behalf. It's being aware that there's a slope leading towards this sort of behavior and not letting yourself slide down it, for sure. Everyone jokingly blame their audience for not reaching goals. Oh, absolutely. Schumer and Pratt. Yep. These names get amnesia for an hour. How forgettable they are to me. Yep. I'm genuinely curious. Does anyone here think that I'm a narcissist? I do want you to ask, or just say the opposite if you think the opposite. Coffee Bean, how you? Is this a measure of inherent necessary narcissism for success survival? So we're going to talk about healthy levels of narcissism later in the stream, but yes is the short answer. Or the Narcissist, the Dwarf. Yep. You're not yet. Ooh, I like that answer a lot. You are, but not necessarily bad about it. Okay. I've worked and lived with narcissists. You're good? No. I just assume anyone who streams is walking the line at least. Yeah, I don't think that that's a bad take either. I don't know you well enough, but isn't every streamer a narcissist to some degree? So here's the thing, where narcissism and being a narcissist are not quite the same in that usage of term. A legend is afoot. Examination of narcissism scares me. It's such a gradient, and I feel the label is a piano on a rope. Yes, correct. I know a guy like that? No, I check in with myself, but, like, no, I don't check myself out. Oh. I don't know, like, is I went to college for this a narc trait? Not necessarily. You have narcissistic traits. It's a disorder when it reaches problematic levels, like ADHD, I assume. Yeah. All right, and then here's my null hypothesis, is simply stating that there is a non-zero chance that this is really not as prevalent as it seems, and that a loud minority makes it feel like this is really something that's very common nowadays, and has always really been common, but now with the information age being what it is, it's simply much easier to see it and to notice it. Maybe, right? Like, you know, I'll leave that as a possibility. Could be the case. Sorry, I have an itch directly in the middle of my back and I can't focus. Oh, I got it. Level-headed response. Yeah. This lecture really making me think. So much it's hurting my head. Same. So what are the physiological impacts of narcissism? And like you can see whether or not it grew. The trick about this slide for this lecture is when someone is narcissistic, the damage that they deal is most often external. As depicted in the image to the left, when someone is abused by a narcissistic person, there's some serious there's some serious damage being done. You know, we talk about effects of narcissistic abuse, right? People who develop memory loss, they can genuinely develop PTS, post-traumatic stress, short-term memory loss, mood swings, or they can become depersonalized. You have something to confess? Go ahead. Headaches, body aches, trouble sleeping, anxiety, depression. Sorry, I'm going to go grab my backup caffeine. I'll be right back. Memory loss? How? That's a great question. I'll talk about that in a sec. These lectures always fucking leave my throat raw. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Baby, I like it raw. Since I legit don't know, what is depersonalization? Great. Coat the throat, baby. So, depersonalization is breaking someone down from personhood. So, if you're someone who's a victim of a narcissist, then they will break you down and consider you not a person. Instead, you are less a person and more a tool, a object to be used. Yeah, make you an it. Exactly. Whisper cat with the fucking first. I love as a. Hold on, we gotta. That's a great first time chat. I gotta put that up there. Welcome to the mountain home, bucko. I'm catching strays from a gun I fired. Good.
Rock and stone.
The lip smack, yeah.
Gravy_Gator gifted a tier 1 sub to Whisper Cat. They have given 79 gift subs in the channel.
Not with the at. Let's see. Memory loss, how? So yeah, through gaslighting, through being told that you can't trust your own memory, your own judgment, by the narcissist telling you that you're wrong with your own. It causes a dysfunction in your own ability to understand your own understanding. We're all slave owners narcissists. I would say when slavery was not the norm, yes. When slavery was the norm, not so much.
Shrimpy gifted a tier 1 sub to Tubular_troll.
I appreciate everyone sharing
This is
subs.
their first gift sub in the
That's
channel.
very kind. Thank you all so much. You understand my confession? So my best friend became my girlfriend, and then after 3 weeks we figured out we couldn't be any better best friends. We got a panda bracelet. So I kind of got my ex-BF. Cool. I appreciate you sharing that. It's not on topic. I can't really give you the time that it deserves. Hi, Kyoharu. Welcome in. Yes, we're talking about how victims of narcissistic abuse can be physiologically affected. Being a vulnerable vulnerable narcissist brings with it behavior that can manifest similar physiological symptoms, such as depression, can even lead to self-injurious behavior. Whereas grandiose narcissism may end up bringing other forms of harm to their body and systems through their at times manic episodes to display their grandeur. So, like, if a grandiose narcissist throws themselves off of a building into a pool, you know, to show how awesome they are, and they break their leg doing that, that's a physiological impact of their narcissism, right? I'm here for my Oshi. Okay, I'm actually going to be a little bit self-indulgent with this question. Am I anybody's Oshi other than Broth? I already know my, I already know that my cat, yeah. My mom was narcissistic. I'm sorry. Maybe. Hell yeah. I don't have an Oshi. You're just Medea. Fair enough. Somebody using chat? Yeah, I have an awesome community, Kyoharu. I just came here. Welcome on in. I reject this reality. Good. Whispercat, thanks for the follow, by the way. Welcome into the mountain home. Sips from my Hora Oshi bottle. At VT Horizons, exclamation point merch. Dadshi? Oji-sama is what 4chan's calling me. You don't know what an Oshi is? So Oshi is the onomatopoeia for pushing somebody in sumo. So let's talk about some recent research. I think we're always here. Oh, Siberian, sorry, dude. So, Siberian, I just saw that one of your messages got auto-blocked. You don't at me in chat. It'll nuke your post. Easy. What's the pin for? It was funny. Thorn's aura. What you're streaming and tell them they smell. Balance in all things. True. Like all things should be. So, the why and how of narcissism. A process model of narcissistic status pursuit. It doesn't have the date here, but this was in 2019, so relatively recent. We propose a self-regulation model of grandiose narcissism. This model illustrates an interconnected set of processes through which narcissists, which in this case is individuals with relatively high levels of grandiose narcissism, to pursue social status in their moment-by-moment transactions with their environment. The model shows that narcissists select situations that afford status. Narcissists vigilantly attend to cues related to the status that they and others have in these situations, and on the basis of perceived cues, appraise whether they can elevate their own status or reduce the status of others. Narcissists engage in self-promotion, admiration pathway, or other degradation, rivalry pathway in accordance with these appraisals. Each pathway has unique consequences for how narcissists are perceived by others, thus shaping their social status over time. The model demonstrates how narcissism manifests itself as a stable and consistent cluster of behaviors in pursuit of social status and how it develops and maintains itself over time. More broadly, the model might offer useful insights for future process models and other personality traits. Murdy Devs, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on into the mountain home. Hey, Fizz got games. Thank you. I appreciate that. It really means a lot for you guys to say that you've been enjoying the chat. It also tells Twitch that you're not lurking. Because, you know, you got to be real. Also, be in both chats. Do the exclamation at YouTube. Go over to the YouTube chat as well. So I like this study, and I recommend you look into it because it can teach you a lot about You got to exclamation point YouTube, the whole word, not YT. Sorry. If you look into this, you can learn a lot about what motivates, specifically what motivates a grandiose narcissist. It's very, very useful to understand how they work. We're real. So why are we talking about narcissism? You are currently watching a VTuber online, statistically. That's why. Because, yeah, you know, you're literally watching a streamer right now. So you should know about narcissism, because a lot of streamers have narcissistic problems. Having a balance of good and bad levels of self-love and aggrandizement is tricky, but if you don't know where the lines are, Being aware of how self-love is done poorly and how it can harm others and yourself can help us fight against taking root to begin with. I have been told the narcissist of the religious world is someone who suffers religious trauma. Yes, absolutely. The eternal imposter syndrome. We call it imposter phenomenon, but yes. They're saying, no. You can't prove. Take the lessons of today and look at the people in your life. Maybe they're wrapped up in these patterns of behavior unawarely. Mayhaps they rebuke you and choose to cling to them anyway. In any case, curate your life and the spaces you live it in. Do not suffer the narcissist to live, I say. Here's my little quote for you. If you're tugging on it past the act, you aren't doing anything. You're just playing with yourself. That's the thing, Izzy. You don't have to kill narcissists. You can just starve them. What if you go in for 2? It's called a refractory period. Listen for a while, so insightful. Thanks, gamer. Starving leads to death? Yeah, but you're not killing them. You're letting them kill themselves via starvation. It's different. It's different. It's passive killing instead of active killing. Oh my god. Alright, so... Whoop. So I want to reiterate this. I feel like this is kind of the big like heart of this discussion. That when we talk about content creators and narcissism, it's important to consider. They'll go and find a new supply, yes, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't starve them. If the more people who choose to starve narcissists, the less they can go. And remember, narcissists can't share. That's a big problem with narcissism, is they cannot share. So if you put a bunch of narcissists in a room, they'll fucking they'll eat each other like the little monsters they are. So let them. That's why the shit that happened earlier this year in the VTubing community, that's why that happened. Because too many narcissists got too close to each other and they started to cannibalize each other. Horace sounds so happy. Or I am a nice, good person, but I will be like the people at the ringside of these events, cheering on for the bleeding death of bad people. Ah, yes. What? In fact, can everyone go post on whatever timeline you have? Whatever time you have. Whatever timeline we have. Can we all just post, ah, yes, one less VTuber? Wherever you have it, just go post that for me today. If you see someone else's, like it and retweet it. Or repost it, or whatever. Just go post it. Good. Right, so I can hear you embody the Steve Harvey meme just now in regards to starving narcissists, yeah. This is the rising tide lifts all boats thing? Yes. What drama was missed? None. The errant flappings of misguided fools is not things worth your time. No drama was missed. That mattered. Yeah, let them starve. But the road to the Empress too. Stop. So when does a narcissist seek treatment? That's a great question. Let's get back to being productive, shall we? All right, let's get into our post-lecture quiz. Who can tell me what is narcissism? Noe Gummy Boy, thank you for the follow. I hope I said that to you earlier, but if you're still here, thank you. The selfishness of self. And how do we get a narcissist to seek treatment? I had one in my life who refused therapy, even though it would have helped them so much, by claiming they would one they did was weird. Walks, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on in. I could tell you, but I'm too busy working on this guy in the mirror. When you are perfect and have zero flaws, like me. Yep. The question, the way we'll address that is in the Q&A. That is myopic and short-sighted. Someone suffered and is still suffering. No one needs to care about what happened earlier this year because it doesn't matter anymore. Issue with getting treatment is the person admitting something is wrong. Well, these guys can't pass. Well, copy off of your neighbor. The question, I would say, the way you help, you can't make people get treatment, right? You can't make people get treatment. That's the genuine truth. You can't make them. They have to want it. And that's a big problem, is that narcissists tend to be very resistant to treatment. My narcissist refused treatment because they don't want to pay someone to complain to them and instead used you as therapy. Yeah, narcissists will do that. That would be an example of a vulnerable narcissist. They're someone who wants to drain the people around them instead of actually changing anything. Can't make people get treatment, and even more so, even if they attend, it doesn't mean they will participate properly. Correct. Unless there's a court order, that can't happen. But even still, like it was posted, like, just because someone is... You can force people to therapy via the law, but that doesn't mean that the therapy is going to be valuable. They have to want it, or it's not going to work. Narcissism is a pattern of excessive self-focus and a strong need for admiration, often paired with low empathy. It exists in a spectrum, from normal personality traits to diagnosable condition called narcissistic personality disorder. I feel like you found that on a search, but it is correct. The horse may not drink. Correct. I learned something today. Thank you. You're welcome. Love you, Kunst. Hey, can you before we go with the next question, can we all take a second and give a round of applause to everybody else here today? You guys have been doing an exceptional job with this topic, and I'm very proud of you. Thank you for coming here today and having a very hard discussion that is very important. Good job, everybody. Well done. Good. Keep clapping. Welcome in, Gio. Talk about Gio. Oh, thanks for inflating my ego. You're welcome. He clapped, but his hands aren't moving. Hi, ADH Dutch. Welcome in. So what isn't narcissism? Can you guys tell me something that isn't narcissism? Self-care. Correct. Exercising. Yes. I fear I am a narcissist. Maybe you are. When you eat too many hamburgers and your stomach hurts. Flour tortillas. Okay. And we're going a little gooning. Hell yeah. Me when I'm too perfect for such flaws. It's incredible. This is all worth and needing an eternal factor. Yeah, like remember, the big idea here is that you have to love yourself. You need to love yourself, right? And take 100 AM. I'm a narcissist texts. Am I a narcissist? I don't know. And 3 times a week, though. Well, that's back in the early 1900s. When you look in the mirror and actually like who you are, yeah, you know, that's a big thing, right? And like, to anyone who might be thinking, if you have narcissistic tendencies, you might, and that's okay. But remember, a big thing is you need to be self-critical. If you are critical of your actions and you analyze what you're doing, if you think you're using the people around you for self-gain, you can change that. You know? It is, and I'm going to say something kind of hard here. It is objectively and morally the right thing to do that if there is someone in your life that you think that you are abusing and using for your own self-needs, it is the better kindness to tell them and to cut them out of your life now than you continue to use them. Oh, I'm aware, Vital. Okay, bye, Hora. Understandable, Krim. Have a good day. So what's one of the... we talked about like 6 or so expressions of narcissism today. What's one of the expressions of narcissism? It can be a primary or a secondary one. But they need me? Yeah, they don't, though. That's the crazy thing. In fact, if you think that there's someone in this world that needs you to live, fuck them. Go do something else. Celebrity/social media narcissism? Correct. Good job. I've been clean from SH for like 3 days or more. I don't know what SH is, but congratulations. Family narcissism? Absolutely right. Vulnerable is a primary, sexual is a secondary. Great job. They are a sentient being. Yep. Vulnerable narcissism. Good. Grandiose is the only name I remember right now. Good. Walks out on the person I'm giving surgery to. Understandable. Silent Hill. Sure. Otis took my answer. Silent Hill. Oh, SH. Hold on, let me get the context of that. I've been clean from Silent Hill for like 3 days now. Congratulations. Later, nerd. Dad, where are you going? Wait, I'm confused. Like, I live with my dad because he actually needs me, but it's because he's an old man and can't move. So I guess that it's necessary narcissism. Well, that's different though, right? That's like medically they need you to survive. We're talking about the overwhelming majority of other social instances where people are not medically reliant on your servitude. That's different. Context. That's a man can't move. yeah. That's contextually very different. Again, so bases though, if I shut down and everything, it's really bad. Yeah, don't do that. Kind of the difference is what I'm fighting to free myself from. Well, I wish you the good luck. So why do I keep hearing that everyone's a narcissist? Why do I keep hearing that? What's that? Why is that happening? What are some of the reasons as to why that happens online in particular? What are some ideas about why we feel that everyone's a narcissist? What are some contributing factors? The system encourages it? Yeah, I guess it could. That's a good observation. That's a popular term that nobody understands. Okay. Slightly sidestepping the question, but you are correct. I don't hear that everyone is a narcissist to BH. Good. Social media amplification. Sure. It's a spectrum. Yep. Did you misspell narcissist in question 4? Yes. Why do fields of work attract narcissists, guys? Why do you guys think certain fields of work attract narcissists? Think self-care is narcissistic? You think yourself, you're immediately a narcissist? Yeah, well, they're wrong. The thing is, the line is different, right? Age information allows narcissists to have a platform. Ooh, I like that, because it's rewarded. Easy access to attention. Yeah. Like has depression, no one... What? Everyone has depression. No one has it. What? Therefore, no one has it. I see. Okay. Use cocaine. It makes you think you're a god. True. They exhibit traits and a lot of them advance. Yep. If we're up on a pedestal. Hi, Zig. So I have to go. I'm so sorry, but you do something. Hey, take care. All right, so November. What's something like autism? They can have a hard time relating to others and go back to their own experiences. Can you help me understand the nature of that question, Michan? I'm going to call my ship the Narcissus. Let's take him in the registry. Reaver, Fable 2. So in November, we're going to be talking about personality disorders. Wahoo! This will be a bit more of a shallower topic because it'll be touching a lot of stuff briefly. Rest of the year, we'll be talking about ego. Gift giving will be December. Maybe we'll revisit a couple of topics. We'll talk about personalities, cognitive distortions, relationships, mania. We didn't get to do the psychology of video games lecture last month, so we'll be doing that in the future. Remember, I tried to do it one lecture a month on a Sunday because here in this channel we have a lot of new people today. But here at this channel we talk about I play video games or collabs or whatever on Saturdays, and then we talk about psychology and just chatting streams on Sundays. So I'm gonna go take a quick piss. Go ahead and gather your questions, and then we'll do the Q&A when I get back. I'll be right back. All right. No, we can just openly ask questions. Rock and stone? Yep, to the bone. Let me try Michan's question. How much overlap is there between autism and narcissism? How can I or others tell the difference when both can be present? Yes, you can be autistic and a narcissist is the answer there. But I would point out that a big through line for a lot of representations of autism is a lack of understanding of social cues. And a fundamental thing for narcissism is understanding a lot of like social strata. So while I would not say autistic people are incapable of being narcissistic or are more or less prone in any way, I would say that I would think it obscure for an autistic person to be genuinely narcissistic. But absolutely possible. And probably as common as it is for non-artistic people. Have you covered cognitive dissonance? I have. It's a great topic, though. Even if it's hard, art's gonna make it harder, but you gotta work on it. Gotta make Brecky. Catch you later, see ya. Oh, Mania. Ego. Oh, it'll be fun. Great topics coming down the line. I got my how much wood can woodchuck chuck question. A lot. Stream rip. No, we're here still. I just had to go piss. Alas, she's dead. Fair enough. It's all the stones? That's disgusting. Can narcissism be medicated? Yes. I'm not a psychiatrist, though, so I don't know too much about it. Okay, English, shame is the only language I know. First, I am autistic. I have experience where someone told me they did something cool. I had done something similar and immediately went to that. A couple days later, I realized that was kind of a douchey thing to do since it wasn't the topic. I'd call it problems with social cues, but I could also see it being linked to something like narcissism. Well, so remember, in an example like that, I would see that as like... Michan, that's you trying to connect to that person, right? Oh, no. That's you just trying to connect. What's up, Schmitty? That's you trying to connect. Connecting with yourself rather than, connecting and letting them continue. But I think you're okay. Having that self-criticism is an important factor to fight narcissism taking root. What a lecture. That to really hit home was a really good one. Thank you. I got here late, but can narcissism have a genetic component? I don't think there's genetics to it per se, but you can be indoctrinated into narcissism. Like, there are studies that prove that if you have a narcissistic parent, the likelihood of you generating those same behaviors is pretty high, but that's kind of the same with everything. So it's not genetic per se, but it can be instilled within you due to your environment. Is it possible to have primary narcissism without the second ones? Yes. The thing is, the secondary parts of narcissism are really like the contexts, right? For which the two, because like the primary grandiose and vulnerable are just like the avenues of positive and negative in which it comes from, whereas like all of the secondaries are like the contextual value to it. Gotta find the VOD. Does narcissism wane or grow with age typically? Yes. Mainly due to stress and to life events, but yes. Narcissism can grow and subside over the course of a life. Also, someone asked earlier, you can in fact unteach yourself out of narcissism. I would argue most people actually do. most people, especially in their teen years, are often very narcissistic. And then as they grow up and mature, they sort of wane themselves away from narcissistic behaviors. Often the case. What would you say is the best strategy for dealing with a narcissistic family member? Distance, distance, distance. Give them as little as possible while staying safe. Buzzgot. So you give them as little attention as you have to. You give them as little of your time as you have to. You stay polite, but you make distance. Because if you do not reward what they are doing, they are going to ramp up their intensity, but do not give. Because what a narcissist will do is they will do what they normally do. If that doesn't work, all right, they'll crank up the heat of what they are doing to make it work again. But you need to just continue. It will become harder to stay away. But you need to stay away and give them as little as possible. Reminds me of someone? Well, I gotta clip that for personal reasons? Yeah, go ahead. I'm reading a freaky book. Mm-hmm. What's so bad about ABA? Applied behavioral analysis treats the wound, not the sickness, is the easiest way I can say it. ABA treats the behavior, but doesn't delve into the deeper aspects of behavior. And so it treats the situation, but doesn't really address the core problem, generally speaking. Short-term memory law. I feel super bad when I don't react super happy to good things people do for me. I was worried they misunderstand my lack of emotional reaction. I think you're over-worried. Imitation. Can people fake being narcissistic to create drama? Of course they can. But then that often does encourage the behavior, which then can take root and they become narcissistic to begin with. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Genetic, no. Family dynamic, absolutely. If it's not genetic, can one still have a natural predisposition? So, no. It's a behavior, and behaviors are learned. Plain and simple. See, Rainy asks, I've heard some narcissists go to therapy and become worse, or use tools from therapy to manipulate others. Is that possible? Absolutely. Absolutely. A schizophrenic person can go to therapy to just learn how to cover up their psychosis, and then that doesn't actually change anything. They just learn how to hide it. You know? That's absolutely. People can take the wrong thing away from therapy. So is narcissism more focused upon the willful action than unintended or learned behavior? Narcissism can happen unintentionally or intentionally. It's often stated that narcissists don't always know they're narcissists. In fact, many narcissists don't think they are. So yes, I would say it can be focused in any way. That's person to person. Legend. Age can lock you into a loop of selfish behavioral traits, especially when it consistently prop your ego up. Yep. It's hard to think of others. Correct. Thoughts on AI creating psychosis and creating more narcissistic behaviors? It does. Next question. Yes. When your world is all about how bad things are for you, right? Reminds me of someone. Hora, can I clip that? Yes. Greetings. Hello, Alfarius. Question: why is the word narcissism thrown out a lot and doesn't make the word and doesn't it make the word mean less? Yes, because people think they know what they're talking about and they don't. It happens all of the time. It happens in every single field of study. It happens. It's okay. We'll be all right. I think that the best way to address hearing the word narcissism thrown around is to question what they mean by that exactly. Be like, oh, that person's a narcissist? What have they done that's narcissistic? Help me understand. You beg the question is my answer. It is harder when they take it on those family members still around them because it then becomes guilt that you've caused this argument. Yes, but you have to starve the narcissist. You starve the narcissist of attention. And you get everyone else around. Do you have any professional opinions between ABA and CBT? They work best together, are individually valuable, But I think CBT is more valuable if it's by itself than ABA by itself. But together they are their most strong, is my opinion. The behavioral balancing act of ego and narcissism. Real. I've always scared I'm narcissistic and I just don't realize it myself. Then you're probably not. If you're scared of being narcissistic, you're probably not narcissistic. If you're scared of being perceived as narcissistic, you might be narcissistic. But if you're fearful of being narcissistic, you're probably fine. It's called acting. Yep. Seems pretty hard to realize yourself if you are. Well, it can. How can one become narcissistic? By pushing yourself up and pushing other people down in a multitude of ways. Tools? No. Masks. Yep. That's the biggest damn Uno reverse I've ever heard. The Tony Soprano method? Yep. Dark manipulation can be dangerous. Can you give me an example of narcissism? Yes. When you believe yourself more grand and good than other people, and that people are tools for your success, or if people are fuel to burn your self-pitying fire. There's more to it than that. We just had a 2-hour lecture about it. It's pretty cool. You ever think you are the bad guy? You never think you're the bad guy, always the hero. No, that's not always true, but yes, that is a good sort of measuring stick. Twitch side is an ad right now, so I'm watching YouTube based. Agreed. Why it's important to be self-critical. Still, how would you notice? Well, people do. I've heard some narcissists, typical horror narcissist take. Shut the fuck up, Nades. I don't even know what you're talking about because I'm still like 5 minutes behind on chat. I've heard some narcissists, they realize that they're narcissists and actually embrace it. Yeah, absolutely. Some people just don't understand the utility of a good old-fashioned word like asshole. Yeah, well, it's vague, right? If you worry about hurting others with your actions, you're already doing a bajillion times better than most. Yep. Absorbing criticism and turning it into yet another prop for your poor behaviors. That's an ugly loop. Correct. I'm scared of being becoming my father. Well, dog, let me tell you. Yep. I think a lot of people can relate to that fear. Salted potato chips. It happens a lot. The thing is, what I always think about is just be better. You don't have to be incredible. You just have to be better. Learn from the people before you what they did right and what they did wrong. Try and do what they did right and try and not do what they did wrong. That's the best you can fucking do. Can one exhibit narcissistic behaviors while considering themselves wrong for doing so? Yes, absolutely. Do not repeat mistakes. Yes. I was diagnosed with narcissistic traits over a decade ago. Therapy and CBT has been immensely helpful. Hell yeah, Uzi. Worth it. Yep. The fear of being a pattern to do your best is all you can do. Can I learn to be worse instead? Absolutely. It's pretty easy. Bees. Don't be sorry. Be better. Yep. Take the time for wisdom instead of intellect. Regarding what someone said about why people use terms like narcissism and really knowing it means that it's the Dunning-Kruger effect. Yeah. Just look that one up real quick. Good news. We can be bees. We can do. We can be bees. We can be a pet. A pet? Is there any correlation between narcissism and schizophrenia? Like in the context of, like, is it more likely substance abuse as a coping mechanism? Maybe. Not always. You can live 30 years. This is good news. Stop. Knowing what you don't do, read books. Yep. Is there correlation? Maybe. I don't think statistically. I don't think it's statistically relevant, Marty. Oh, sorry, Murty devs. Yeah, I think like there are definitely some narcissists who are schizophrenic, and I definitely think there's some schizophrenic people who are narcissists. But I don't think that those two diagnoses are married in any particular way. Is there any similar disorder to narcissism? Maybe. I'm scared of becoming my father because he was a bad person. He did drugs and stuff and left me a lot. I don't want to marry a man like him. Yes, I love my dad, but I hate him too. I mean, yeah, the genuine truth is, it happens. You know, we learn from the people around us. We learn behavior from the people that we observe and see. And so it's common for us to see traits in our parents and then see those traits in people and be attracted to those traits because they are familiar. It's easy to fall into that loop. But You have to find someone who loves you for you and treats you the way that you should be treated. And you have to find, first of all, you have to find that that's valuable to you, which is not something that is immediately a given. Comfort and familiarity are warm blankets, but you need more than a warm blanket to survive a winter. So find someone who loves you and will take care of you, and that you can take care of and that you love, and make it work. It will be messy. You will make mistakes. They will do things that remind you of your father. They will do things that you will do things that remind you of your parents. That's okay. It'll be all right. Do your best. Hello, almost in a casket. A family member tried to tell me, remember you marry your parents, and that was attached to the AI, to all the negative things, and that comment gave me such ick and was insulting my partner. Yeah, shocker. I definitely heard a lot of my dad's self-doubt, but I'm working on it. Yeah, you have your whole life to figure it out. That's kind of the cool thing about being alive, is that you have your whole life to actually get your shit together. No one really talks about that. You have your whole life to get your shit together. Is there anything that anybody wanted to still talk about when it comes to this, or can I officially deflate my brain and relax? It's pretty sweet. Got a question? Good. Do you know what it is? I know what it is. Imagine being alive, right? Real dog. Depends, can I bother you? You are never a bother to me. Play away. Lucky. You got a question? Go for it, Biggs. A million questions after we end. That's always the case, and that's what the Discord's for. You can always ask these questions on the Discord. Go to the Discord, play Discord. Woo! If you go, hey, Hora, I really appreciate all the things you did today, you can go ! Kofi and give me your money directly, or you can do ! Throne and go buy me stuff that I want, including a very expensive wheel of blue cheese, because fuck it. You did it, Hora. You beat narcissism. Yay! Bro be looking like SpongeBob with his nose pulled out. Shut the fuck up. Cheese wheel. Free Hora PayPal debt. Yeah, does anyone have $3,000 to clear me of PayPal debt? I will post feet. Can it be narcissistic to ignore someone's trauma to get them to get them what benefits you? Yes. It will not necessarily be that, but it can be. Also, like, recognize that not every single relationship you forge in your life needs to be, like, the closest, coolest, nicest, lovingest thing. Sometimes you can just know a motherfucker and be like, yeah, they're the person that I hang out with once every few, like, what feet? Oh, feet. Or if I ever get the okay, I'd post feet for you for debt payment. Thanks, gamer. Cheese is scientifically proven to lower all-cause mortality, so cheese feels a health forward purchase. Real. Wait, no, I mean, do you know what it is when I get terrified and my stomach starts hurting and I back away from them a little and then someone says, I have a question? That's called anxiety. Laura's relationship with me is tech support and disposing of imposters, for real, for real. He called me to jump in his car and I said, please respect my boundaries. Bitch, you don't even. I got a silly question. What are some other cool sounding old psych terms like mania and delirium? Lithium is a fun one. Oh, look at the creature. It has anxiety. Shut the fuck up, bro. But yeah, it sounds like anxiety to me, salted potato chips. Lithium is a psych term? Well, it's a medicine, yeah. So it's, no, I'm not doing that, Leaky. If the cheese wheel gets bought, picture of Horror holding up the entire wheel of cheese like a heavyweight title belt? Yeah, done. Is mayonnaise a narcissist? It can be. Anxious Dwarf needs his emotional support rock? I'll destroy you. Or so learn, do you still learn stuff about psychology to this day? Every single day is a lesson. Every morning a test of what yesterday was. Always be learning. Yes, I am learning new stuff about psychology absolutely every single year, every month. All right. YouTube stream is dead. We're going to stay on Twitch.